Good morning. Welcome to day 27 of Momo Strategy in the simulator. Let's take a look at what we got today. The S&P 500 is back at all-time highs. It's good, I suppose. US oil's tanking, considering that tweet from Trump, I assume. Looks like our top 5 leading gainers are all low floats or low price. GCTK is the only one that's in the top 5 that would potentially fit my criteria. CNSP sold off after a couple of days ago. ONEG, too high priced. SOBR. There's a little bit of ways to go. It's back at the highs, but it's also lower priced. But pretty much waiting for news. Since I'm not really watching anything in particular, I'm gonna ramble a bit this morning. So I've had a lot going on recently. I haven't slept well today either. I'm pretty tired today. That means that I'm gonna keep my size, below half. No, half size, quarter size. But we're here and we're putting in the time. After that loss yesterday, I did have a lot of time to think about what I wanted to do with my strategy. And probably the best solutions that I could come up with were being a sniper. Open the window capture. Chrome. If we were to look at a ghillie sniper, this would be me right now. Waiting for our target. This guy here with the scope, chilling out, waiting. Or, I'm a cat. Cat waiting to pounce. Waiting to pounce on the fresh news, the fresh breakouts. This is what I have to be. Now, I did come up with a spreadsheet, one of the spreadsheets that I've used before, where could be switching to Excel. I don't know why OBS does this. Whatever, delete it. Make a new Excel. If you can't tell, this morning I'm like, kind of dead. But I went through the past few months of streaming here through my trades, and I logged the ones that were opportunities based on a strategy where I focus only on A quality setups, which include news, whether continuation news or fresh news. I call this particular data sheet sniper testing, right? And what I found was that there were over 34 good quality setups, even during this cold market in the past, from March 26th to May 4th. Capturing even 50% of these profits with a $2,000 account size with my size up rules. Like, this is a very conservative sheet because all of these profits, if you can capture 50% of the moves with, a day even where you're starting quarter size, like for example here, ARTL gave 4 opportunities in the same day. So the first trade would have been quarter size. The second, third, and fourth would have been, you could have traded it with full size if you were careful. UICN on the first, it gave 5 opportunities that were really good. So you could have sized up for the secondary opportunities. The thing is that, you might not have an opportunity every day, right? 26th, 27th, and then 31st, 1st, 2nd, and then we had to wait till the 7th. Some of these have weekends in between, but the point is that if you're patient, opportunities will come. It's time to let go of that illusion of control, as Master Oogway would say. We're here to capitalize on opportunities, not to make them. It's part of our Momo strategy. These are the stocks that have the most edge. Stocks generally with less than a 3 million float, or less than a 5 million float, but the best stocks are 1 to 3 million. Less than a million to 3 million, it seems like. Price between 2 to 10. Volume should be increasing. MACD should be open. And it should have a decent catalyst. I have one in here that didn't have a decent catalyst, which was NASDAQ compliance, but it, only gave us one good opportunity, which makes sense. Didn't make very much on it. But even trading just these setups would have more than doubled my account in the past couple of months. This doesn't even count, for example, if I were to make, let's see, like in a week, if I were to make $500, then I could potentially size up with real money based on that $500, especially if you have leverage. You can size up very quickly in making profits and scale your account really fast. But I don't use leverage, but it still counts. I would have made potentially $1,000 between the 26th and the 10th here. That's only a couple of weeks. You can add share size as you're increasing your account size. So this is, it's not just 200%. It's not just doubling the account size. It's potentially more than that with a real account. Assuming you don't make any losses and assuming that you're able to capitalize on at least 50% of the moves. Some of these were harder to capture 50% of the moves. Some of these were easier. Some of them were easier to capture 100% of the moves, but I still included them as only 50%. But that's the goal. Be a sniper, capture at least 50% of the move. and you know, be ready to pounce on opportunities. But if there's no opportunities, I'm not going to force myself to make them. For now, in this cold market, I'm doing away with VWAP setups. I also made a bit of a flow chart. So I'm being a cat. But I also have this little flow chart here that I did up. It's just a very quick flow chart I did to remind myself of the flow of my trades, how it's going to work for me, for exactly what I'm looking to trade. So we start with meets 5 pillars here on the left. We ask ourselves, does it meet the 5 pillars? If it's no, then we take no trades. If it's yes, and it's fresh news with a fresh pop, then we look for a breaking news setup. But if it has a bad daily, weak news, or low volume, then we don't take any trades on it. If it's all good and we see an actual setup, that's holding VWAP, holding MACD, and if it has all of the 5 pillars, then it should be up at least 30% on the day. If it's all good, then we can trade the first and second pullback on the 10-second chart. If you've already missed the first pullback, then we can get in for the second pullback and get a base hit. If it ends up pulling away even more, then you could potentially scale in. But once the first and second pullback are done, you have to be a little bit more cautious and wait for it to do a regular 1-minute pullback. And then you ask yourself, is there high volume selling? If there is, then you don't take any more trades. If it's just a small 1-minute pullback with a pattern, and it's holding VWAP, high volume buying, low volume selling, then you're able to trade continuation, looking for first candle to make a new high, waiting for it to go higher. But if any point you trade the continuation, so when you trade continuation, you're looking for first and second pullbacks on the 1 minute, potentially the third and fourth. But at any point that MACD crosses over and becomes negative, it's done. I don't trade it anymore because I lose too much profits trading the backside of the move. So MACD crossover means no more trades on it. High volume selling means no more trades on it until it curls back to high day after consolidation. So the question here is, does it curl back to high day after consolidation, that fresh news trade? The answer is yes, then we can look for a high day squeeze setup. But it needs to break and hold break and hold high of day, or the closest half whole quarter dollar. So if it breaks and holds high of day, then we can continue trading continuation. So this means that we cannot anticipate the break for the very first break and hold of high of day, because it's likely that it's going to be a double top. But if it breaks and holds, then we can trade continuation. If it doesn't, then we ask ourselves, okay, is a cup and handle pattern forming? Right? Is it creeping up to high of day? Is there support near high of day that it looks like it's going to break out? Like, is there a pattern that you can get in close to support to anticipate the break? If the answer is yes, then we can enter to anticipate the break. If we enter, then we have to ask ourselves again, does it break and hold high of day or the closest half whole quarter dollar? If the answer is yes, then we could trade continuation. If the answer is no, then the cup and handle pattern is broken and there's no more trades on it. Because it's, now there's a rejection. Now it's not a proper cup and handle. Come back to the very beginning, meets 5 pillars. We can ask ourselves the same question for, I said yes and fresh pop for the first, but there's also yes and continuation, yes and opening bell. So continuation is obviously not going to be a breaking news setup. What's going to happen is that it probably popped up during pre-market, like earlier in the day, or popped up during after hours when we weren't around. So we have to ask ourselves to be able to trade it, does it curl back to high of day after consolidation? And if it's yes, then, we go through this whole thing that I went through before. I have to wait for it to break and hold high of day, or wait for a cup and handle pattern to form to anticipate the break. And then up here we have, does it meet the 5 pillars? Yes, and it's the opening bell, so it's past 9:30. Did the stock hold up pre-market near a high day? We ask ourselves, and if the answer is yes, the stock held up. It's above VWAP. Maybe it's close to high of day. And we ask if it's a top 5 leading gainer. Is it one of the strongest stocks during pre-market? And if it's yes, then we can look for a cap and go setup. If it's no, then we take no more trades for the day. So this flow chart for me that I made for myself is intended to hone in on sniper mode, basically. I have exactly what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for. Has to be an A quality stock. Has to have these things. And, I can't enter to anticipate the break on continuation. Like, I have no problem with that. But it feels like entering to anticipate the break right now for, a high day squeeze is what's getting me into a lot of nonsense, getting me into a lot of situations where I'm chipping away at the gains that I previously made, trying to anticipate it, and it just ends up projecting over and over and over again. So once it breaks high of day, though, then it's usually pretty strong, and it usually is is looking to be bought up by buyers, and we have like 1 or 2 pullbacks. And in those situations, I can anticipate the break. But that's the flow chart. That's what I've been thinking of. So we are activating sniper mode today. And potentially going forward, we're going to see, how successful I am at it. This is pretty much what Ross is doing. He makes some exceptions because he's, he has a lot more experience reading level 2 and reading the charts. And during a hot market, I'd be more willing to open up to trading no news. But during this cold market right now, if it's no news, it has to be holding up. It needs to be a high of day squeeze. And it has to be holding up. But I'm generally not going to make exceptions because I really need to improve my accuracy right now. And trading between, when it's trading within a range between high of day and VWAP has been really choppy. And I lose a lot of money on that, trading curling setups, trading VWAP retests, trading all the VWAP setups. It just hasn't been working. So I'm going back to focusing on what has the most edge. And then we can work from there. If there are no trades, I don't force it. But if we get an opportunity, then I need to take advantage of it. That's going to be the key, is learning to take my foot off the gas when there's nothing, and capitalizing on opportunities when I see them. Like I said, today I'm pretty tired. We'll have to see what happens today. I do have a coffee, but rambling is over. We're going to focus back on trading. I didn't see anything that I really wanted to watch this morning, so I figured I'd get my rambling over with as soon as possible. Well, maybe a couple more. Maybe a couple more analogies here. We had the cat, we had the sniper. Basically, we're aiming for the low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit. So, no sense climbing all the way up the tall tree, falling down and, breaking my spine. We want to make sure that we're picking stocks that give us easy wins. There are other opportunities that are way up in the trees, way up in the canopies. But if I'm not an experienced climber, then I'm going to fall off and get hurt. But even the experienced climbers, they don't always want to climb a 50-foot tree. They also want the low-hanging fruit. So we start with the low-hanging fruit, and we'll work from there. We'll use another analogy. You know how all the predators in the wild, they don't go after every single bull in the herd, do they? They don't. They go after the easiest ones because they don't want to get injured by a big bull, a big mean bull. Some of these stocks are mean. They'll rug pull you. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about what you thought about which way the stock was going. And the predators, they go after the young ones. They go after the easy ones because it takes the least energy and there's less of a chance of getting hurt. Getting hurt out there in the wild is a death sentence. So OCG's Chinese stock with no news. It popped up after hours here. Its last news was April 30th. It's a bit of a garbage stock. It did pop up previously. It was a former runner. We had a little bit of a recent reverse split back on the 27th of April. It's got a pretty low float. But this doesn't have any news. So if we go back to our flow chart, does it meet 5 pillars? No. So I'm not trading it. I don't even want to see it because I'm going to get tempted. But I'll leave it up on the chart for you guys to watch it. I'll watch it too and make commentary. So it looks like it's kind of rejecting off of 250. We are holding the 9 EMA for now. It's possible that it breaks after first candle to make a new high here. I'm not particularly interested. So I'm gonna fill out my my report card here on the side while I'm waiting for something to pop up with news. So we're gonna wait for 7:30. But if there's nothing at 7:30, then we're gonna start a Slay the Spire run or something, just to keep some entertainment in the stream. Because I understand that, sniper mode isn't going to be particularly entertaining for some people who are watching. But I'm not really here for entertainment. I'm here to document my journey and do my best to improve my trading and my P&L and have some people along for the ride for community. It's just that the strategy I'm trading isn't going to be particularly active, especially right now during this cold market when there's not much moving. Because I am going to wait for pretty much just news or a high day squeeze on a continuation from after hours of the previous day. So if the stock doesn't meet those criteria right now, I'm not trading it. There's nothing that meets that criteria. But in other news, I mentioned that I had some stuff going on. I found a tenant the other day, so we're gonna get him into the apartment. I extended an official offer for tenancy from the other day. We're gonna start tenancy next month. I got a few things on my plate to take care of. But that'll be interesting because it's the first time I've ever rented out a home to somebody. So it'll be a first experience for me. been taking care of that. Other than, working my normal job, my 9 to 5 job, 10 to 5, 10 to 6. Max is popping up on this scanner. But it doesn't seem to have news. It has a recent reverse split back from 17th of April. This is kind of another garbage stock that has just sold off since its IPO. But you can see how dangerous news is to trade, or not news, but stocks with no news. It popped up there for a moment, up to 280. It broke 260, popped it to 280, but then it instantly dropped back down to 250. A $2 stock, I'd probably trade 100 shares. If I had jumped in at 280 with 100 shares, I could have lost 30 bucks instantly. This is why even when no news stocks are moving, you cannot say definitively that you have edge trading them. Sometimes it's hard to tell. There might be some edge if there's a theme going on in the market. So if there's, for example, the DCAR, the Chinese stock with no news that moved the other day that went up to 2024, or it was last week or whenever it was. For a little bit, Chinese stocks were popping up because Chinese stocks became a temporary theme. You might have edge on that. But when you don't know and you don't understand the catalyst in the stock, it serves you well, in my opinion, to just be cautious of it. Even if you trade them, you should trade them with small, like very small size. So it's important for stocks with no news, as Ross mentioned the other day in his video, that you see it hold up first before you jump in. You have to wait for it to do a 1 minute pullback. But remember, these are just my interpretations. I've been trading for 9 months, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I get it a little bit rambly when I'm tired sometimes. It's 7:30. We're watching for news to pop up. I recognize Amma. It's a former runner. It likes to pop up a lot, but it has just been selling off. I traded Amma way back here on this gap up uh, back in December when I was experimenting with different simulators, including the TradingView simulator. Kind of funny that my entries and exits are still there. This one's popping up, but I don't see any news on it. Lower price, 4 million share float. So I had a previous daily level of 173. So the next half dollar or whole dollar you'd be looking to break would be 175. We're currently at 150. There's a bit of another daily level there at 145, which is kind of what we're struggling to break. 145, 150. So if it breaks 150, then it would have 25 cents of room to move. And then if it breaks that level and it has all the way up until 847, be in a window. So I have traded Amu before, as I mentioned. If it breaks and holds high of day, then I might be interested in trading it because I know that this stock can be a big mover, even without news. It has made several big moves with no news before. It is lower priced, but so just to clarify, if we go back to that flow chart that I mentioned earlier, if we think about that flow chart, right now we're trading in a range. We're trading between the highs and the 9 EMA. I'm not interested in anything right here while it's trading like this. According to what I said about my strategy, now I'm going to focus on accuracy. So I'm not trading it. I'm not interested in it at all until it breaks 150 and it holds 150. Otherwise, it is hands off. Because right here, there's no edge. We're just chopping around, chopping tails. And we're selling off. Like I said, now that Alma's selling off, there's really nothing I'm interested in. So we're gonna pull up Slay the Spire, and we're gonna play a bit of Slay the Spire while we wait for something to pop up. So I've managed to get Ascendant 6 on most of my characters except for Regent. So I guess we'll try doing a Regent run. See if I can catch him up a little bit to the other ones. I'm not very good at Regent though. Colorless cards can be pretty good. You get the rare ones. We'll try. Vigor is really good for Regent. There's a lot of cards that work with Vigor for Regent. I like getting question marks early. So I'm going to take the right path. Weak is pretty good. This is basically Falling Star, but without the damage and without the cost. Max popping up a little bit on the scanners. Only on 9%. I don't see any news on it. Do I go? Could go card generation build. But glow is also really good. Glow is generally good, while Kassar is good for a specific build. Almost curling back up to the highs. Interesting. So we broke, but we didn't hold there. In fact, he's crossing over, and that is a lot of buying volume. So I'm gonna wait for a cup and handle on it. Get the gold. Upgrade glow. Cash is really good for in general for lots of cards. One thing to note about AMA is that it is cheaper right now. It's $1.50. So unless it starts moving really quickly and breaks above 175, then I don't know if I'm particularly interested in it. Like, I do like the stock. So if it holds up, I mean, it could potentially move very quickly. I'm 1 damage off of killing that thing that's about to do 22 to me. All this gives me 1 damage, I guess. Royal Gamble. I believe this upgrades with Retain, right? Retain's pretty strong. Don't really care about Cosmic Indifference. Knockout Blow. I mean, Knockout Blow is good for certain like boss fights and stuff. I think I'll take Knockout Blow for early on. It's pretty good. I like this not exhausting anymore. So you see it broke High of Day, but it didn't really pull away. It's kind of chopping around, not moving very much. Can be a bit difficult to trade. I'm going to take a lot of damage this boss fight because I'm drawing very well. I do have 1 campfire to rest at before I have to face another boss. I mean, this boss fight is just rough because I don't have AoE. The other ones shouldn't be so bad. As long as I can survive this. That's rough. Looks like I bit off more than I could chew. I think I'm dead. 3, 6, 7. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah, I kind of suck at this character. Let's play a different character then. I play Ironclad, Silent, Nightbinder, or Defect. I think Silent, I guess. Get a rare card. There's a lot of good rare cards for Silent. Get gold. The shop isn't until much later. We can always remove the injury. We'll see what rare cards we get. Sly is OP. that. Ridiculous. Basically already a 1 run. Left, and there are 1, 2. If I go left, I have to deal with like 3 bosses. In the middle, maybe. So it's 9 minutes to 8 o'clock. So we'll get ready for news once it gets closer to 8 o'clock. Because we'll take the skill, or the attack, I mean. All my skills will have Salai. I don't really care about Verdana's egg. I want max HP. That's 12 damage. 2 shivs, 12 damage. Matter. Well, this gets Sly, so. And it dodges reduced attack damage. This guy. Expose is pretty good. I could get another deadly poison. Run poison, Sly poison, sure. I need discard. Dagger throw. I'll take dagger throw and prep. Okay. Macro, obviously. We need to look at the other cards. Transform, strike. Okay, well, that was useless. We need to remove that from a shop. Thankfully, I don't need to remove, I need to remove that injury now, so worked out in the end. Oh, I'm gonna take so much damage. SLP is popping up on the scans with some news, but it's a 16 million share float and it's a higher price. So NVIDIA collaboration, I mean, that's pretty good. Above the daily level, it has room up to 25. I just don't like the higher float on it. And it's a little bit lighter volume right now, too. If the news was that good, then it would have much more volume than 50,000 shares. Okay, so we're going to close this for now and see if there's 8 a.m. news. We're going to get ready for potential news. We'll go back to it if there is no news. Watching the scanners, 8 a.m. ETLN and it's popping up, but it's a 20 million share float. Has room up to 235. UCTK is breaking through VWAP. The problem is, I don't know what the catalyst is on it. So, I don't see anything with a low float that's popping up within the price range that I want to trade. So we're picking and choosing our prey. None of it looks good. They're all too skinny. Some of them look fat enough to waste my bullets on. We're still hanging out in the treehouse, waiting for something to show up. I'll put ATLN on the screen, but I'm not trading it. Float is too high. So I guess that's that. Back to Slay the Spire. We will continue our Slay the Spire run since there's nothing. And we'll come back at 8:30. The only problem is OBS is a little bit annoying that it doesn't pop up the game right away. Please pop up the game. There we go. Oh, why it does that. Okay, so the front slime's gonna die. One of my skills have Sly here. I'm not really worried about. Dying yet. Backflip. remove this. I have to look at what the trinkets are. Yeah. To remove this second useless master planner, because it's just dead card. I only need one of them. And then tactician's very good. I could remove another shiv. Remove becomes more valuable the more that you do it. EPVO popping up here. 81% clinical benefit. It's only up 11%. And it just sold off. Red on the day. Okay. For a second, I thought that we might have had a stock pop up at a weird time. 808, APVO. I've traded it before. Only a 1 million share float, but like it was not the one. All right, I'm gonna remove a strike. I don't have any gold, so I'm gonna look at it. Like I said, Alma's breaking out there, but I'm not interested in it. It's too cheap. It's 13. Take 3 damage. I don't care. 2 damage. Basically, just defend while the poison kills the guy in the back. Dexterity is good. So we have it to rest. We don't have a choice. And Orbic Acid was very good for starter potion here. Neutralize. Footwork, pretty good. We're going to Gamba our hand. I think it's important for me to play this card early. I'll take a little bit of damage to play it. 8 plus 9 is 17. 14 block. Not worth using my dex potion yet. I'll play the defend just to get the sly on it. I'm pulling away a little bit there. Gaining some volume. I'm just not sure what exactly the catalyst on this is. It's getting close to being our leading gainer though, but it's still lower price. It's still really choppy. I think it's worth trading. This is the time for my dex potion. Nightmare? What would I nightmare? I don't know. I feel like nightmare is too slow most of the time. Like I could nightmare tactician or something, but I don't really like any of this stuff. Echoing slash. I mean, could use some AoE, I guess. I'll take take some AoE. Oh, these are crappy. Hoping to get the hot chocolate. I draw too much. I would get a bunch of suit. I guess it's pumpkin. I could try and do elites. There's 4 elites on this path. 1, 2, 3 campfires. Pretty dangerous. I don't know if I need to take that danger. I just need to upgrade cards. 2 elites on the left path. 3 campfires. I think I'll take this path. Go through 1 boss. Take the double campfire. Take the other boss. But I have the option to go this way too. I need to. I can break his armor. He's just dead. Their backflip. Sure. Oh, I don't really care too much about either of these cards. I want to remove my strikes and just have poison. I guess I'll take the other AoE. Just in case I run into the worm boss. He's gonna steal something good, I know it. IT poison, take some damage. I don't want him to steal one of my good cards. He's gonna steal my freaking Sly. Okay, he only stole attack. It's not as bad. So we got about 7.5 minutes to 8:30. We haven't seen anything interesting this morning. Unfortunately, but that's just the way it goes. Can't do much about it. Gamba's really good. Okay. So we're playing that. We Gamba. Plays in the front guy. Playing blocks does more than he's playing the toxic effects. Take a little bit of damage. Wouldn't be too bad. So Amma continues grinding higher. Very grindy stock. 1 million shares of volume in that 1 minute candle. Pretty good. Excuse me. Now I'm taking a lot of damage here. Maybe I should have discarded one of the toxics. Ouch. A little bit too long to kill these guys. At least the guilty is removed now. How many preps do I have? I only have one prep. The second prep is fine. Well-laid plans is very good. Oh, I wish I could take bandages. Oh, that would have been broken. I don't have enough money, so I have to take well-laid plans and hope I don't die. Well, this isn't the worst one that I could have faced. So, is this the only boss? 2 campfires after this boss. I think I need to use the power potion. Yes. Please don't kill me. I want to live. 18. 10. 15. Get Sly on all of them, I guess. I know Amma is moving higher here. It's just I don't really want to trade a grindy stock way up here that has no news. It's the only thing moving today, but it doesn't meet my my criteria for selection. So it's impressive that it's up 74%. I said earlier that, I mean, I've traded Amma before. I do know that it is a mover, but I mean, I don't really want to, after monologuing this morning, I don't want the first stock that I trade be one that breaks the criteria that I talked about just because I want to. I'm probably gonna die to this boss. Yeah, I'm dead. Damn it. I thought this was a one run because I have Sly, but the higher ascendances are really hard. Is there a better path I could have taken? I could have avoided this boss, but I didn't think I was going to take so much damage. Three enemy fights took me down to like starting this boss with 24 HP. If I went this way, the enemies probably would have killed me. So it is 8:30 here. So we are going to watch for news as well, but we have GMM popping up. But it is a, oops, it is a higher float. So I'm dead in that one, so I'm probably just going to die and then close it. But we're watching for news right now because it is 8:30. GMM 45 million share float. Better moving average is up at 250. So this isn't what I'm interested in. Just for reference, Ross doesn't have any trades yet today either. So since I'm basically trading like Ross is, right? With his momentum strategy. So we're not interested in any of this stuff. We're chilling, being bored. Aaron, I'm popping up. Low float biotech stock with news. Recent reverse split, room up to the 200, up 20%. I do like everything about this stock. But does it hold up? That's the question. Like everything about this looks good to me. It just needs to break 6. Like we have high volume selling here and I don't know why. Like the news is, breakthrough in preclinical results. But it has heavy resistance. I'm going to take a starter here, looking for the squeeze up. I'm going to add, looking for 7. I'm going to add, look for 750. Take a little bit of profit off because we got a big topping tail there. I'm going to take the rest off. We moved so quickly there that I thought we were going to all the way to 750. But that is not base hits. So, I mean, I'm trying to take advantage of these stocks when they pop up here. I'm going to buy the dip at 6 or the pop back up to 650. Set a profit target. We're selling off. Oh boy, that's a big one. Hmm. All right, so that concludes my trading for the day. What happened? I made a sizing mistake. I got in for the breakthrough 6 because I recognized that it was a good setup, but it wasn't a base hit. I'm trying too hard to scale into these trades. So I added at 618, which was good. I added at the break of 650, which is good. So I actually started with 1/8 size, so 25 shares, and I added another 25 shares up to quarter size. But when we broke 7, I added 50 shares. So my average cost basis ended up being way up at 7 after I scaled out at 660 a little bit when it rejected off of 7. What I should have done was I should have added quarter at 6, added half at 650 instead of adding more because my cost basis ended up all the way at 7. Then I had to sell as it came back down and it didn't pop back up to 7. And then I added down here off of VWAP because usually speaking, after making such a big move like that, when it comes down and drops back down to VWAP, it usually pops back up. I expected it to pop back up to 650, but it didn't do that. And I held it too long. So my quarter size position ended up being 20, like a 63-cent loser, which is extremely bad. But Ross made 12,000 bucks on it. So what did he do? He added at 6 and he just scaled out at 7, 650. My first trade of the day, I went too hard and I scaled backwards. I should have scaled more at the beginning of the move, like quarter size, and then just added 25 shares as it broke 650. And then took profit up at 7 and then scaled back out at 650. I mean, I have the ability to recognize that the stock is moving quickly. But, I got too excited. That's pretty bad. So I think we need to keep practicing in the simulator for a while. Considering what just happened there, definitely not ready to trade with real money. We're going to keep practicing. But I am also very tired today. I have been for the past few days. Oh man. Doesn't feel good. Messing up an opportunity like that. When you're in the middle of the trade, you're like, this is going to the moon. Like 600,000 share float with a biotech stock. The news says breakthrough preclinical results, 100% survival and complete tumor elimination. That sounds really good, and it was moving quickly. In one candle, it squeezed from 6 up to 7. But I didn't manage my risk on it. But you would think, I mean, it's such a struggle sometimes when the price action is different than you know, what you believe. But you have to read the price action, not the chart, not the news. I stepped up to the plate there and I got smoked. I thought that we were going to the moon. It still wouldn't have been that bad though if I didn't hold on the second trade. The first trade was, it sucked. I gave back. But the second trade, it didn't work, and I should have just break out or bailed out. A second trade, I guess, was a bit more of an emotional one. I mean, the logic was there, right? So break through 6, that's good. Bounce off of VWAP, I mean, that's fine. But I had 20 seconds of opportunity to get back out before it broke back down. All right, I got filled at 583 and it popped back up to 616, 618. So I could have actually gotten out for a small winner. Like a 20-cent winner. I could have been happy with that. But the part where it became emotional was where I specifically waited for it to go up to 650 because I wanted to, capitalize on what I missed here. But let's not focus on the negative because this is why we're in the simulator. The positive part about this is that I recognize that this was a good stock to trade. I listened to sniper mode. And I recognize this right here. That's the good part. The rest can be fixed. If I'm taking my first trade of the day on breaking news, especially after the weeks that I've been having, this should have been a base hit for me. I should have just bought 50 shares and then sold as it went up to 7. If I bought 50 shares and sold as it went up to 7, from 6 to 7, I got filled at 618, we would have been looking at like a $30 or $40 green day. That's great compared to what I usually get. If I added at 650 and then sold up at 7, 75 shares, probably would have been a $50 green day, and that would have been great after all of the struggles that I've been having. But just didn't manage my risk on it. So unfortunately though, I mean, I'm not going to take any more trades. That was my opportunity for the day, and I missed it, and I have to accept it. I missed it. I didn't miss it, but I failed it. And I have to accept it. I'm at max loss now. because I took this second dumb trade. It wasn't a dumb trade, but it was holding it was dumb. Holding it down for 60 cents was stupid. Otherwise, I'd be able to, continue trading. Maybe if this crawls back up to the highs, because it does have good news, then I would have been able to trade it more. Maybe made more on the day. But I'm not trading anymore. I'm following my rules. I messed it up. It is what it is. So we are going to chill around and watch it. But we're not taking anything else. If I was trading with real money, I probably would be upset at the fact that I lost 49 bucks for no reason. But because we're trading in the simulator and I did see this setup, I mean, I'm pretty positive about it. So this is what we're gonna do. And Ross made 17 grand on this stock that popped up. It was also his only trade. This is what we're gonna do every day. We're gonna wait for the stock that pops up. We're gonna wait for the stock that squeezes through high of day. Capitalize on it. Get green, get out. Next time when I see this opportunity, I'm gonna get in with quarter size, and then I'll add small size to it if it works. I was backwards there. I don't know why I got in with 25 shares and then added 25 shares and then added 50 shares up at 7, other than the fact that I got too excited that I added way up here. I doubled my position way up there. Should have been the opposite. You get in, you think the setup looks good, you get in with bigger size closer to support, and then you add smaller and smaller and smaller size as it continues going higher. So even if I was trading with max position size, I would trade with maybe like 100 share starter, and I would add 50 shares as it works. Then I'd probably add 25 shares up to max position size. Like 25 or 50 shares. Or even, maybe not even that. Maybe you do, half. And then you add immediately for the breakthrough 650, another half. And then you sell as it goes up to 7 because you see it's moving quickly. I'm not sure. But it's definitely not the way that I did it. All right, enough ruminating on that. So mask is up 24%, but it doesn't have news. Looks like it's continuation from a couple of days ago. Yeah, May 4th news. So, I mean, a technical breakout of this would be a break above 268 to break the previous continuation's highs. And it does have room to move. but I can't take any more trades. I'll just I'll narrate what I would have done if I could take more trades. But I'm keeping my hands off the buy button for my rules. So it's kind of bouncing off of the previous pre-market high there, this support level. But it ends up breaking down. It's just not strong enough to get back up to the previous day's high. Let's check in on Candyman and some of the others and see how they're doing today. Candyman got a nice trade on air now. Good. Looks like DJ got smoked on Erna too. Yeah. The thing with Ross is that he's pretty good at knowing when to size up. And if I'm gonna be honest, I probably me like I'm still a beginner trader, right? I think I said that I should have just done a base hit there. 100% I should have just done a base hit. Like you said, maybe one trade in, one trade out there for my starter trade of the day. Like if I had just done that, I would have been up 30, $40 on that breakthrough six. But you know, I tried scaling in because I thought that it was like an A plus quality setup. That it was like, all right, this is the time for me to step up to the plate. And I stepped up, but it didn't work out. And, you know, maybe I shouldn't have because I looked at Ross and he did just like basically one in, one out. He added big position size to start, and then he just scaled out up at seven. Yeah, I guess so, right? So when he's adding up there, he's kind of adding back. So he gets in, he takes profit, and then he adds back as the trade continues to hold. I wonder how long it took him to deal with the adrenaline though. So the problem that I noticed right then is that because I'm being a lot more conscious of the stocks that I'm getting into, right? Like this Erna is probably would have been my only trade for the day, even without me hitting max loss right now and having to take my hands off the keyboard. But because it's an important trade, it's going to be pretty much my only opportunity for the day, having it pop up at when did it pop up there? 8:30, 8:34, 8:30. Yeah, it's already 8:30. Like, there's probably not going to be any other trades for the day. I looked at it. I'm like, this is an A plus quality stock. I need to take advantage of this. And then I had a rush of adrenaline, and I think that's part of the reason why I ended up scaling in so much. So I was like, this is it. This is the home run. Maybe in a hotter market it would have worked, but in a colder market here, that it wasn't the right decision. I think it was the adrenaline getting to me a little bit, and since I don't have enough experience, I added backwards. I added small size down near support, 1/8 size, and then I added another 1/8 size, and then I added half size or a quarter size. Sorry, so I scaled into half size. You could be right. It's just maybe I should just do one trade in, one trade out. I want to get better at scaling, but if I'm still feeling adrenaline, then that's going to be very difficult because my scaling is going to be based on emotions rather than logic. When I scaled before, it was a little bit more logical. Like I would add quarter, and then I would take profits, and then if it holds, and I add back at the first pullback, and then it holds and goes higher, then I add back, and then I take profits when it reaches the next half whole dollar. And then I scale back out if it fails to break. It was a more methodical rather than just add. Yeah, I'm happy I found the setup, but maybe I gotta just do one in, one out for a while. Or two entries, two exits at most. 1 to 1 or 2 to 2. 2 to 2 would be like 50 shares starter, which is quarter size. Add 25 shares as it's working. And then two exits. So scale out when it reaches the $half whole dollar. And then scale out the rest. Exit the rest as it goes up to 7 and pulls back. Fails to break 7. That'd be two entries, two exits. And then if it holds, then I could add back on, after already having a cushion and some profit, then I could just add back another quarter size or half size or whatever, depending on how, if the pullback is shallow. Hmm. I don't know. I'm happy that I saw the setup because I can work on this stuff and work on the rest as long as I can find the setups. That's what matters most to me right now. My priority, if I take my priority list and I list them out, the first would be finding the right stocks to trade. Not, keeping my discipline and only trading A quality stocks. Like that's my number one goal right now because my accuracy has been so terrible. The second priority is finding the correct entries, to be able to take advantage of those stocks when I see them. So the right entries will and the right stocks will prevent me from giving back a lot on just trading sub quality or stock prices bouncing around within a certain range. I don't get back on curling patterns. I don't get back on setups with no edge. And then my third priority is scaling. So maybe until I get a handle of the first two, we just ignore scaling. One entry, one exit, two entry, two exit. To get confident with the entries and the setups, then maybe I can consider it as I get more experience reading level 2. Although I've been red for the past couple of weeks pretty significantly, I feel working like I'm working towards something that's good. And I know that because I mean, it's exactly what Ross is doing. I'm just kind of verifying it for myself at this point. Sometimes some people, like myself, need some kicks in the teeth. They need, they need to see certain things for themselves with their own eyes. Even though from day one, he's been telling me that this is the best way that he's found to do the strategy in all of his years of experience. And the more that I trade, the closer that I'm getting to refining the strategy to be like his. Turning more into more and more into a wannabe every day, I guess. And I have tried other strategies. I did try trading during regular market hours, trading some of those other strategies that the big prop firms do. I don't really like them as much. I don't feel like they fit my personality as much. Or scalp like hyper scalping doesn't fit my personality. I've tried using a bunch of the different indicators. I considered doing something like Candy where I would trade mainly on the 5 minute chart, or I would like do swing trading or something. But the more that I've traded, the more that I've just returned to momentum trading small caps during pre-market. I am glad that I'm paying tuition in the simulator right now though, and not with real money. I've blown up quite a few accounts before, and it's a lot harder to see things clearly when you're, emotionally blinded. So, it's good. It'll be good once I get a handle on this to have a good back tested strategy that I know works. Once I can, finish flushing out all the details, then I know it's back tested, I know it works, and I can feel confident trying to replicate whatever I've done in the simulator later on when I trade with real money. Because it'll just be a matter of that point, matter of execution and figuring out, you know, not figuring out, but like trying to keep my emotions out of it and just trade according to the back tested strategy. But since I started, I have been making a lot of progress in the development of the strategy and also with my profit loss ratio. I mean, this last trade kind of ruins, it brings it down a little bit, but I still cut it. Before, if I was down that much when I was a beginner trader, down 60 cents, I would have held and hoped because I would have been like, oh my God, another huge loss. Will it come back up? The stock is, it has all of the bells and whistles. Like, it's got to come back up, right? I did hold it for longer than I should have because I was a bit emotionally fueled, but I still cut it. I still cut it before it got worse after it broke down there. It broke down really quickly and ended up being a 6 cent or a 60-cent loss because of, capitulation. So I should have cut it right up at 580 or 6 after it didn't work. I held it too long, but I still cut it. That's progress in itself compared to what I used to do. Granted, things are different when you're in a simulator. I will acknowledge that. But the habit is what I hope to have stay. So I think I'm just going to do my recap right here and get off because I'm a max loss. So we're not going to take any more trades. We're not trading at the open. Although I've recapped it enough, I'll just go over it again very quickly, just for the end. So I recognize that Erna was a good setup. 600,000 share float. Good news, preclinical trial or preclinical results at 8:30 here. It popped up, dropped down, held the 9 EMA, curled back up, and we have this flat top break right here. I bought for the breakthrough 6, and I continued adding as it went higher. But I added too heavy, and it ended up reversing on me, unfortunately. So the first trade I ended up getting out with like a $17 or a $20 loss or something. I don't remember what it was. But I jumped back in right here for the bounce off of VWAP, expecting it to pop back up to 650 because they usually do after like a strong move like that. And this was previous resistance, so resistance becomes support. So I bought down at 583, expecting it to pop back up to 650. But this was a little bit of an emotional trade because I held it too long after it didn't work. I should have sold at 618 after seeing that it wasn't going any higher. But I held it, and I ended up selling into capitulation right there. So what I'm going to do for the future, in addition to everything I talked about this morning, I'm going to do 2 entries, 2 exits at most. Maybe 1 entry and 1 exit for my first trade of the day. Scaling is a little bit too much for me right now as a beginner, so we're going to leave that alone. Ross gets big fast. Yeah, that was definitely my mistake. You're 100% right about that. My average cost basis, like if I look back at it, um, was a lot. It was pretty high. So I ended up selling at 660 and 640 as it rejected. So on these first 2 trades, like it ended up only being a 20-cent winner. But then because I added 50 up at 7, my average cost basis after I sold half was up at 7. According to the simulator at least, but ended up probably being like 670 or something was my average cost basis because I added 25, 25, then 50. So I added 1/8, 1/8. So I was half size with an average cost basis of probably around like 635 or so. And then I added 50 up at 7, which was like doubling my position size up at the rejection. So it was 630 plus 7 or 635 plus 7. Yeah, it'd probably be somewhere in like 660, 670 range average cost basis. So that would make sense if my average cost basis was 670 and I sold 100 shares around 650, so 20-cent loss. Because I was like 17 bucks or something, I think, after I sold it all. So yeah, for the break of 6, I should have added quarter size, 50 shares, because it was my first trade of the day. Quarter size on first trade. And then as it was working and I saw how quickly it was moving, I could have added maybe like 25 shares up at 650. And then took profits like at 7 and scaled out. Take profits up at 7, sell the rest here at 660 as it was rejecting pretty heavily. That would make the most sense. Or if it was my first trade of the day, if I wanted to do just 1 trade, just quarter size, 50 shares, sell it up at 7. Simple, plain and simple. If I had done that, I wouldn't have taken the emotional trade and I wouldn't be down 50 bucks on the day. I would be up 30 bucks, 40 bucks. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I'm done for the day though. I'm not going to take any trades at the open. Ross looks like he's done for the day too. Thanks for everyone who stopped by today. Thanks, Bass, for your feedback, for stopping by. I'll be back at it again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully, I get a better sleep tonight. I'll try to go to bed a bit early so that I have, it's not my third. I guess this would be today is what, Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday, so this would be the 3rd day in a row that I've been trading while like half dead, tired. So try to come back tomorrow energized. But until then, I'm off for now. Take care, stay green. I'll see you next time. Peace.